My children don't want to come to Nigeria.
What is it with Nigerians? Any opportunity to leave the country?
The way Nigerians take they leave Nigeria this period is something else. If we continue like this in the next 10 years, Nigeria go just empty.
I think that I'm passionate about Nigeria. I still enjoy when I go back to Nigeria. But there comes a time in your life when you must sort of change your own strategy. And I think my strategy is that I want to live long.
You know, Nigeria to someone once said there's no need, other country, you die for America, die for this country, you don't need to die for Nigeria. Nigeria will kill you.
More than half the people in Africa's biggest country, Nigeria, say they have thought about leaving it for good. And 10 years ago, that number was way smaller. And so the question that's being asked is, what actually changed? What made so many people look at a country that they were born in and say, I need to go? And so it's not always about a question of searching for greener pastures. Sometimes it's just a matter of finding peace of mind. And today we are delving deep into this particular subject matter. My name is Damilola Emmanuel Adefarakan, and welcome to the Giant of Africa. Now, let's deliberate on the actual reasons given by a Nigerian woman living in Gambia who goes by the name Divine. You see, Divine is a Nigerian woman married to an Australian man, and she posted a photo story explaining why she and her husband decided to pack up and leave Nigeria for Gambia. You see, she talked about issues concerning fear, things like heat, stress, the power cuts constantly, and even airport corruption. And when you check her story against what lines up with what is actually happening in Nigeria right now, almost every single point that she made lines up with actual real life data, real numbers, real reports from real organizations. This is not one woman complaining, this is an actual pattern. And so Divine's first point was security. She said Nigeria generally is not safe, and that she and her husband were always scared because every single day brought some sort of bad news. So here's the thing, she was not exaggerating whatsoever. And that's because if you check the real data, between July 2024 and June 2025 alone, a research group called SBM Intelligence counted 4,722 kidnappings across nearly 1,000 separate incidents, and at least 762 people were killed in those attacks. Nigeria's National Human Resource Commission also tracked over 3,000 kidnappings and more than 3,500 killings in roughly the same time window. The northwest of Nigeria got hit the hardest, with Zamfara State alone recording over 1,200 abductions. Also, Human Rights Watch, in its latest world report, confirmed the same pattern. Bandit gangs raid villages, farmers and herders clash, terror groups are still active in the northeast, and Boko Haram has been present in the country for 16 years as of now. More than 750,000 people had to move out of their homes in the northwest region alone. So when Divine says that they were always scared, that fear has receipts. And then Divine got personal. She said her husband is white, and anytime he stepped outside in Nigeria, people would stare at him way too much, and it made him uncomfortable. But in Gambia, she said nobody even notices him because there are plenty of foreigners just like him there already. And so this is not something you can pull a government statistic for per se, but it fits a real and well-known reality. And so the thing is this, Nigeria does not get the kind of steady, long-term Western expat and retiree population that smaller West African countries like Gambia have built over decades of tourism. Fewer foreigners around usually means more attention on the ones who do actually show up. And for an interracial couple just trying to live a normal life, that daily attention adds up quite significantly. It becomes exhausting, and exhaustion, even the quiet kind, is still a reason to want to leave. Now, another concern is that there have been several cases of the kidnapping of expatriates in Nigeria. Divine's third point is about the heat and stress. She referred to Lagos especially. Now stack the heat on top of all the other problems, and it stops being a small complaint. You see, Lagos is one of the fastest growing megacities on earth, and it's packed with more than 20 million people choked in traffic, and it's humid almost all year round. Now add power cuts that leave you without a fan or air conditioning for hours, and the heat becomes something that's essentially unbearable, something you have to fight with every single day instead of something you just experience. And that brings us straight to Divine's fourth point, the one so many Nigerians agree with: no steady electricity. Divine went on to say that they paid for light and essentially did not get it whatsoever, and that even sometimes there was no power for a whole 5 days, and that the generator noise was just too tiring for her to bear. And this is where the numbers get almost hard to believe, because Nigeria's national grid has collapsed more than 222 times since 2010, with a dozen more collapses added just in the year 2024 and 2025. In one single incident this year, generation crashed from 3,825 megawatts all the way down to 39 megawatts in a matter of minutes. And the whole country, over 200 million people, went dark again. Experts say that Nigeria needs at least 30,000 megawatts to properly power itself. But on most days, it produces a small fraction of that. And so Nigerians built what people now call a shadow grid, which is millions of diesel and petrol generators humming outside homes and shops every single night. That shadow grid costs the country between $20 and $22 billion a year in fuel alone. The World Bank puts the total cost of Nigerians' power failures at around $29 billion annually. And that's close to 10% of the entire economy. And so nearly 19,000 manufacturing jobs were lost in just the first half of 2025 because factories simply could not keep running. Chai! And what makes it even worse is that leaving Nigeria is not that simple. And Divine's fifth point captured that perfectly. She called it airport stress, essentially saying that Nigerian airport officials made travel so hard and left her husband anxious every time he had to fly. Because corruption at ports of entry and even exit has been documented for years by travelers, journalists, and watchdog groups covering Nigeria's aviation sector. It is one more layer of friction in a life that already has too much friction. Because you would think leaving a hard place would at least feel like some sort of relief. But for a lot of Nigerians, even the exit comes with a huge toll. Now, you see, here is where Divine's personal story connects to something much bigger than her and her husband. A 2024 Afrobarometer survey found that 56% of Nigerians have at one point or another considered leaving the country, almost double what it was back in 2017.
Bro, we need to travel. Oh. We need to leave Nigeria. See, how much money you're going to make does not only lie on the information you know, it also lies on the environment you've seen yourself. We need to leave this country. This country will kill your dreams. You cannot think far. Everything you're going to think, the only information your mentality will assess will surround around Nigeria. We need to get out of this country. Even if we don't want to live outside, but we need to visit some countries.
What is an experience that changed your life?
Me leaving my country, Nigeria, and coming to Ghana by myself when I was 18, it really changed me. It's made me be a strong woman. It's made me be able to stand on my own, be able to make some decisions, some critical situations. Any
particular incident you can point out whilst being in Ghana?
I saw myself through school, and during that period it's not easy because I was like schooling and working back to back. I wasn't really having time. It's always from work to school, from work to school. Yeah, like that alone was really, really stressful. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm grateful to God because I came out well.
What do you like about Ghana?
Peaceful. I mean, it's peaceful. It's a free country. Yeah, if you respect yourself, you mind your business, no one will trouble you. But when you start troubling people, that's when you get trouble. But it's a peaceful country. And
what would you tell people who haven't been to Ghana yet?
Okay, they should experiences. I mean, I like traveling, so I mean, they can experience Ghana. Ghana is cool. It's a nice country to be in. Yeah, it's just that it's expensive. It's very expensive.
And what makes it even worse is that among Nigerians with a college education, that number jumps up significantly to a whopping 71%. Now, among unemployed people actively looking for work to do, that hits a 66% mark. You see, the most common reasons people gave were finding better work, and that's at 42%, and 39% mentioned generally escaping economic hardship and poverty. You see, the thing is, Nigerians' average inflation rate hit 21 to 23% in 2025. And that means prices for basic things like food and fuel kept climbing whilst their wages mostly stood still. The naira has lost so much value over the decades that something worth 100 naira back in 1960 would cost over 1 million naira today. But you see, the most painful part of this whole story is maybe who is leaving. It is not just struggling people looking for any way out. It is the doctors, the engineers, the nurses, and all skilled professionals in general, which are the very people that the country needs most to fix its own problems. By mid-2025, over 11,000 Nigerian trained doctors were registered and working actively in the United Kingdom alone. And that number has only kept growing ever since. Meanwhile, Nigeria has roughly 3.9 doctors for every 10,000 people, which is far below the World Health Organization's recommended minimum of 1 doctor per 1,000. And so we end up with a scenario where the country is essentially losing exactly the people that it cannot afford to lose, while other nations roll out the red carpet for them, offering better pay, better working equipment, and a shot at an actual stable life. Well, none of these reasons stand alone, and Divine and her husband chose Gambia. Millions of others are actually choosing other countries like Canada, Ghana, the UK, Ireland, wherever the door actually opens to them. And so Nigerians are not essentially running from Nigeria because we stopped loving it. We are running because loving a place does not pay the light bill. It does not stop the kidnapping and does not bring back the years spent living in fear.
Some Nigerians actually move to Ghana and they don't go back home, okay? Now, it's not whatever it is that you're thinking, but the very reason why they are staying here is most likely going to shock you. So, are you interested? Now, when we Nigerians relocate, we usually come here with a mindset that it's a temporal thing. We just want to, try it for maybe a year maximum, okay? We tell ourselves, let's see how this whole journey is going to go. If it doesn't work out well for us, we're going to go back home. But you know what happens? 1 year turns into 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and you're thinking of staying here for more. Now, do you know why? It's not about money, okay? It's not even about the opportunities that we are likely going to, see here. It's something that we Nigerians don't get, expect at the initial stage when we, land here in Ghana. It is the peace, it is the peace that we get to experience right here in Ghana. It's the quietness, it's the way of life here that, is kind of slower than the kind of life that we have going on for us in Nigeria. You see, there's no pressure, no constant pressure, no aggressiveness, the hustle culture here is different. The survival mood, the energy, every day is kind of different. So at the end of the day, some Nigerians actually say it feels like, we can actually breathe again. And then again, there's the culture. You get it? Simple things like the orderliness when you're in traffic, the less chaos, the way businesses operate here. Look, these things are not perfect, okay? But there is this predictable, feeling about it. And for families, somebody like me, the safety was one of the most important things that I put to get it. So there are many Nigerian, parents that they're going to, admit to the fact that they feel relaxed here raising their kids compared to, raising their kids back in Nigeria. But the real reason why most of us, don't get to say it loud is that we leave Nigeria with the mindset that Ghana is a small country, you get it? That Ghana is not as big and everything that Nigeria is, you get what I'm saying? And then we're coming over here to build a new identity. We are building new friends, we are building new routines, we are building new comfort zone. And when you've, built all of these things, going back home, it's kind of difficult. It's kind of hard because how do you pick your life that you have built here, leave it, and go back? Now, this is not saying that Nigeria is not home. Nigeria will always be our home. But Ghana has actually become another version of our home. So let me ask you this question. If you are a Nigerian that is living right here in Ghana at this moment, would you go back home permanently?